Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. I'm here today to explain one more topic that is dealing with paper 2. And if you can recall the term pseudocode. Yes, children, we have done this term recently, so you must be okay with the term pseudocode writing. So now we are learning what actually are the rules that we need to follow in order to write down pseudocode. But before I move on to this one, let's very quickly recap what we have actually covered. Do you remember the term algorithm? Yes, can you quickly recall the term? The term algorithm means algorithm in problem solving. Yes, very correctly written by a few students. Now, along with algorithm, we talked about a term pseudocode and another term. Can you all recall that term? Yes. Okay, that's wonderful. The flowchart. Now, it actually means that you people remember. So when we talk about algorithm writing, we talk about pseudocode or we talk about the flowchart. So right now we are learning pseudocode means that how to write down the instructions which are needed by the programmer in at a later stage. Before I move on to the pseudocode writing instructions or the rules that we need to follow, let me quickly recap the terms, variables, and constants. Maybe some of you are already aware of them. By the way, variable, what comes to your mind when you hear the term variable? And what do you think, from which word is this word derived? Okay. Yes, quite right. Actually, the word variable is derived from the word vary. As you can see, the word vary means something that changes. And constant. Yes, very correct. It's actually its meaning is the same as we see in normal circumstances. Constant means something that remains same, that never changes. So that remember the same definitions as we have discussed right now, and let's see what do these terms mean as far as computer science is concerned, as far as programming is concerned, or pseudocode writing is concerned. So these two terms will be used quite often. So just be very clear about these two terms, what they mean, and what should you be doing in its explanation. Okay. Now moving on to the next definition, what do you think is a variable? As the definition is written on the screen, as you can see, a variable in a computer program is a named data store that contains a value that may change during the execution of a program. Now, remember, this basically means that it's a location in the memory that stores a value that may change, that does not remain same, that changes while the program is being executed. On the contrary, if I talk about the term constant, what is it? As we talked about the term constant, constant means a named data store. It's also a named data store, a location in the memory that stores a value that does not change during the execution of the program, that remains same when the program is being run. Now, this is something that we need to remember, and we need to work on the definitions also. Just be very much cautious about this, that whenever you are using a variable, the variable should depict its nature. The variable should not be, can say any word or anything that does not make sense. It should be something that depicts its nature, that depicts its purpose. For example, a lot of variables which we are going to use today and in other classes, they are containing something meaningful. They are something which are going to tell what they are meant to store. I hope that it's very much clear. The two terms are very much clear. Now let's learn what do we do in order to declare a variable or in order to work on a constant. Be very clear about this. It's very simple. You just need to learn the syntax in order to declare a variable. You can see the syntax is here. Declare, identifier, colon, data type. Now, what do we mean by the term identifier? This term identifier will be used quite often after the variables and constants. We are going to use this identifier in an array or in other data structures also. So be clear that in order to identify a variable or a constant, we are going to use a name, and that name is called an identifier. As far as data type is concerned, you may recall I have another video that I have prepared for data types. So you can refer to that video also. And we have talked about it in the class also. So just a little reminder, data type means that the kind of data coming that is going to be stored in the variable is its data type. For example, the data type can be string, integer, real, Boolean, and yes, can we recall real, integer makes a set. Then we have char and string that makes another set. And the last one is Boolean. Although we have one more data type, which is date, but we are going to restrict ourselves to these 5 data types right now. I hope that we are clear with this one. Let's see the different examples. The very first example that you can see here is declare student name colon string. Now you can see here in this example, the keyword declare and the keyword string are written in capital, just to make it very clear that these are the reserved words. You cannot change them. Like the placement, the way you write down is going to be something that is always going to remain same. But as far as identifier is concerned, that is something that may vary. Like, for example, I may have taken student name. Some other person may have taken S name. The third person may have taken SN. And the fourth person may have taken name. So the identifier may vary from person to person, but the keyword declare and the keyword string are going to remain same for every single person who is using the declaration statement. Be very clear about it, okay? I hope that there's no confusion as far as declaration statement is concerned. We can see declare the keyword, then we have the data type string here, and they have a colon sign in between, and we have the example of, you can see student name. Now the next one is declare student marks colon real. Again, you can see the data type is real. Declare is again something that is same. And then we have student marks, which is my identifier. Be cautious. Here again, I'm repeating, we can see that S and M are capital and there's no space in between. I keep on telling you this thing in nearly every class, like in the data type class also. I talked about the same thing. I'll keep on talking about the same thing when we are talking about the programming instructions, when we are writing down the pseudocode writing, when we are going to write down the pseudocodes. So please be clear how to declare the variables, how to write down the variables, and the variables should remain same throughout your pseudocode. They should not be changing. Again, I'm repeating, if I'm following Ali, definitely I have to see that whether Ali is here in the class or not. So variables should be there, should be same. It is not possible that you are using student name at one place and at the second place in the same pseudocode, you're using name. So definitely that will not be feasible. The second example of declaration statement is declare student marks and that the data type is real. One more example, declare age, colon integer. Like for example, I'm assuming that I want to take the input of age of a person. So normally the ages are taken as integer values, and that is why it is declared as an integer. I hope that's very much clear. Any confusions before I proceed to the term constant? Okay, that's wonderful. Thumbs up from everyone means that you all have understood. Yes, be very quick. In a second, I want all those who have understood to have the thumbs up. Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, now, please, hands down. Thank you. Now, let's move on to the next thing, that is constant. Again, you can see constant identifier, but there is a little change that we are using the arrow, and this arrow is called the assignment operator. Please be clear that we are going to use the term assignment operator. Whenever I say assignment operator, I mean that I want this symbol to be drawn by you people so that you can understand that this one is meant to assign a value to a variable or to a constant. We will be talking about the same soon, but this is the assignment operator, remember. Now moving to the example. The very first example, constant, the keyword constant as written in capital. This is my identifier. I've taken first const. I mean, again, your choice. You can use any other one. And the assignment operator and then 500. This is a value that I've assigned. Again, you can see this is the value 500 assigned to the constant by the name first const. Any confusions? Okay. Okay, now a question. If I say I have another constant by the name second const, and it's assigned maybe a value of 100. So what should I write in order to get this task done of assigning value 100 to another constant by the name second const? Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Let's see. Is our answer the same as shown on the screen? Constant, the keyword constant. Second const, as I said, that is an identifier. I said second const, as another student can take second as well. Another student can take SC as well. It may vary, but you can see the assignment operator is something that has to remain same, and the value 100 is supposed to remain same. Okay, now another one. The normal, by the way, do you all know what is pi? Yes, the value of pi as far as math is concerned, not the pi, the apple pie. I'm talking about the pi value as we use in math. Okay, yes, that's okay, fine. What is the value for pi? And does it change or does it remain same throughout? Is every person who is using the value of pi is keeping the same value, or does it change from place to place, country to country, or city to city? Yes, it remains same. By the way, another task, very quick. What do you think is going to be the how can I actually go for constant for the value of pi? That is 3.142. Let's see. Is our answer matching with the same as is shown on the screen? Again, you can see constant pi. Again, you can see the one that I said in the beginning, that the value, the identifier that is taken should be depicting its nature. So you can see just by looking at the value at the word pi, we can understand that it's meant to store the value of pi. So that will make my work a little simpler, a little easier. Any questions? I hope that we all are clear about the term, how to declare a constant and how to declare a variable. The keyword declare is used when you are declaring a variable, and the keyword constant is just declared when you are using constant. And you can see declare, identifier, colon data type, and constant, identifier, assignment operator, and the value. Again, with practice, inshallah, we'll be able to manage a little better, but I hope that you will be able to manage in one or two classes, inshallah. Now, we are actually learning, the very first thing is that we are learning is assignment. Right now, I talked about the term assignment operator. So what is assignment actually? What comes to your mind when you hear the term assignment? Some assignment that is given by your teachers? Is that the thing that comes to your mind? Fine, you can say assignment given by the teachers, like maybe any assignment given by the teacher to be submitted, fine. But otherwise here, what do we mean? Let's see. Assign a value to a variable. Now, this is what we are going to learn, the procedure that how is a value assigned to a variable. Again, we all know what a variable is, but now we are learning not the declaration, but we are learning how the value is assigned to a variable. You can see the value that is assigned can be the result of a process, or it can be the result of a calculation, or it can be simply a value also. That is also possible. Let's see the different examples. The very first example that is coming on the screen is count assignment operator 1. It means that I am assigning value 1 to the variable count. A very simple thing. You can see the value 1 is on the right-hand side, and it is assigned, given, stored in the variable count. I hope it's very much clear. Any confusions? The assignment operator is here. I mean, that's very simple. The next example, total. Again, the assignment operator, total plus count. Now, this is basically, again, assignment to what is happening. As you can see, the result of a process or the result of some calculation. So by the way, what is happening here? We are actually adding two values which are stored in two variables, total and count. The values which are stored in these two variables are added, and the final result is again stored in the variable total. but this total is on the left-hand side of your assignment operator. Be clear that assignment is always happening on the variable that is on the extreme left-hand side, and it's always one variable only. It's not more than one variable. Be very cautious, because one more thing that we'll be inshallah doing is, after we are done with pseudocode, is debugging. I'm just introducing the word. I'm not actually making you fearful. It's very simple if you have understood the basics of pseudocode writing or flowchart. So once you're okay, you'll be able to handle very quickly, very easily, inshallah. Now again, you can see another example, pass, assignment operator, pass plus 1. So what is happening here? We are actually adding the value stored in pass. We are adding 1 to the value stored in pass variable, and we are storing it once again into the variable pass. So you can see pass plus 1, whatever process is happening here is going to be addition of 1, and the value will be once again stored into the variable pass. The next example, sum, assignment operator, first number plus second number. So what is going to happen? First number is a variable that stores maybe any value. Second number is also a variable that stores another value. We are adding the two values together, and the result of these two values being added is stored into the variable sum. So again, here in this example, 3 variables are being used. First number, second number, these two are added, and the result is stored in the variable sum. Any confusions till now? Okay, now. Another example is, you can see total is a variable which is divided by 25. Again, we can see the assignment operator is being used, and the result is the variable. On the left-hand side of the assignment operator, total upon 25 is going to be computed. Whatever is in the variable total will be actually taken into account, divided by 25, and whatever the result is will be stored in the variable result. Now you can see here, all the examples that are being used are using variables that depict their nature. The thing that I said, isme ba musamma, telling the nature. Just by looking at the variable count, you can see it's meant something for counting. Looking at the variable total, you can assume it's meant for totaling. Pass means something that is holding who has passed and who has failed. And some first number, second number, result. All these variables that you can see on the screen are dealing with a meaning. They depict some meaning. They are isme ba musamma. I hope that we are clear with this one. Any confusions, please do ask before I move on to the next topic. Thumbs up? Okay, thank you very much. That's great. Since you all have understood the different examples of assignments, now we are learning which operators are used whenever we are performing the assignment in pseudocode. Again, very simple. You don't have to worry at all. You don't have to actually be worried at all. It's very simple thing that you need to see, and you will remember it. Which assignment operators are being used whenever you are talking about the about pseudocode writing. Just a reinforcement of whatever you have learned, that you can see a value is assigned to an item or variable using the assignment operator. The arrow, as you can see here, I'm repeating the same thing. The variable on the left-hand side of the assignment operator is assigned a value of the expression on the right. Again, a repetition of whatever we have talked about right now. The value of count, the value of total, pass, all these examples that we have talked about are being discussed here. Fine. So this is just, you can say, making it, you can say, a sort of revision for you people, so that you can comprehend how do we assign a value to a variable using the assignment operator. Fine. And the values are going to be single value, like you say you saw it in count, where only the value 1 was assigned, or it can be several values combined with any of the following mathematical operators. Now, this is what you can see: plus, minus, multiply, divide, raise to the power, or the group. By the way, a lot of examples are the same as you see in math. Plus is the same, minus is the same, subtraction, but multiplication is by using the asterisk. And then division is performed by using the slash. I hope that that is also clear. That is clear to us, because we have talked about this in one of the videos. We have talked about in one of the classes. Plus minus is the same. Multiply is the asterisk. Please be clear about the term asterisk. And then we have division, which is done using the slash. And then raised to the power. Like, for example, if I talk about anything like raised to the power 2 or raised to the power 3. So I'll be using the caret symbol, and then I can group the way we do it in math in order to perform something that is going to be a combination. Now, let's see the relational operators which are used in pseudocode. Selection statements. Now, selection, by the way, what is selection? Very quick responses. Exactly. Selection means that making a decision, condition is there. So we are going to talk about this relational operators that are used whenever we are writing down pseudocode selection statements. Now, by the way, are they familiar? Do they look familiar? Like, for example, the one that are written here, equal to. Equal to is the same as you use in math, isn't it? Greater than is the same, correct? Something very quick response. Which symbols you're already aware of? Which symbols have you used in math already? I'm waiting for the responses. Like, which symbols are unfamiliar or new to you? Okay, fine, correct. Not equal to, greater than or equal to, fine. Yes, we do write it in a little differently in math. So now you need to see that equal to is the same as we use in math. Greater than is the same as we use in math. Less than is, okay, now less than is an incorrect one. I'm sorry for this. It's going to be a different one. Greater than or equal to. Now this one is wrong. Actually, this one has to be the less than symbol. Let me actually correct it. And then greater than or equals to is the same as we see, but the only change is in math, we have the symbol below, but here it is going to be equal to here. And less than or equal to is this the same as you see. So there's a little change that you need to make, that the less than symbol is going to be with an just like an L. So this is the change that you need to make in your box also. Now we are actually moving on to the next thing, and that is the basic thing that what we do in order to write down how to take input. And you can see the two keywords, but we normally use the keyword input. Normally, like the norm is the use of input, although in some situations we may come across the word read. So do not get confused. Whenever you talk about the input taken, it is done either by using input or by using read. Now, the syntax, input and variables. Again, it can be one variable or it can be multiple variables. So up to you. You want to use different lines for different inputs to be taken, or you want to use the same line to take multiple inputs. It's up to you. This decision is entirely yours. The very first example is input paper 1. As you can see, the variable is paper 1. Another one is input paper 1, comma paper 2. Now, this is actually depicting whatever we talked about, that we can use one input statement to take input in multiple variables. So that is going to be here possible to take multiple inputs using one input statement only. Now, another example, just to make it very clear that we can take input in, it's not necessary that the variables should be integer only or real only or anything. Any of the data types that we have talked about, the data types can be any type of data can be applied, and you can take input in any, for example, you can take input in a string value, you can take input in an integer value, you can take input in a real value. Everything is possible. As you can see, paper 1, paper 2, these both are integer values normally, because they don't contain decimal part. And student name, just to depict that we are going to use input statement to take input of the student name, that is going to be a string value. Now, just to make it very clear, we have shown you the read also. The read also is meant to take input. You can use input statement or read statement. They both serve the same purpose. Any questions? Any ambiguity regarding this? Yes, thumbs up. All of us? Okay, that's wonderful. Great. Now, once I'm done with my assignment is understood. Now, input is also understood. Now, the next one is how to output the result, or how to print. So we have two keywords. Either we use output or we use print, and both are meant to serve the same purpose. Now, be very cautious. Output is done in three different ways. Either you are using output to display the result of the variables only. Now you can see the example, output paper 1. So it means that the value that is stored in the variable paper 1, that value will be output. Maybe paper 1 was holding 55, or maybe paper 1 was holding 70. So whatever was stored in the variable paper 1 will be output, or mainly definitely on the screen, that because the main output device or the main display is on the screens mostly. Now, second example, output paper 1, comma paper 2. Just be clear. We are separating the variables by a comma in between. Fine. We are using a comma, and comma separates one value from the other. As you can see, paper 1 and paper 2, these are two variables, and these two variables are separated by a comma. And remember, this comma is only for the pseudocode. It will never ever appear on the screen. It is only meant to separate two variables. If you want a comma to appear, then that will be handled differently. But please remember, the comma is only there to separate the two variables. That is the convention that we need to follow whenever we are using the first type of output statement, where we are using it to output the variables. Now let's move on to the next one, which we use quite often, output a message. Like output hello world. This is just an example that I've taken. I may have different other situations also, like I may have a message for the user, oh, you have lost the match. Or output, please enter the first number. So when you only want a message to be displayed on the screen for the user without any other thing, then you will be using the second type of output statement, that will be output a message. And you can see the messages in double quotations. The example is mentioned, hello world, and other examples can also be discussed. Like we'll keep on talking about these in the classes further. So I hope that will help you a lot. Now, we have output, and then we have a message and the variable. Like you can see here in this one, we've actually combined the first and the second one together, and you have framed the third one, which is dealing with if I want to output the message as well as the variable, then I'm going to use the last output statement where it will be a message, comma, and then variable. Please be clear that message again is coming within double quotations, and that message is up to you, whatever you want to display. And the variable is again your choice, that whatever value you want to display. Like for example, the example that I have taken is output average is, quotations closed, comma, and the variable is average. Again, you can see throughout this whole class, we have been talking about variables that depict their nature. So whatever the message is something that is going to remain the same. Nothing is going to change. It will be exactly same appearing on everyone's screen. But as far as average is concerned, that will be the calculation that has been done in my program. But this is just an example. So I hope that it's very much clear. We have learned output using output in three different ways. First one is I may have to output the variable value only. So I will take the first output statement. If I have to display a message only, I'll be taking the second output message statement. Or if I have to work with both, like I have to display the message as well as the variable value, then I'll be taking the last one. And I hope that it's very much clear to all of us. Yes, may I move ahead? Any confusions, any questions, anything that is not clear? So please do ask before I proceed on. Okay. Just to make your life easy, I've just mentioned the same with the help of the print. You can see the messages are just the whole syntax is the same as we had with outputs, the same as here with the variables. You can use print with variables only. You can use print to print the message only, or you can use print to actually merge or combine the message and the variable. Again, the syntax is the same, that you have a message and a variable separated by a comma. Just for the learners who are like, because I have seen some students who are raising their concern. I read their can say messages right now. You can see for yourself, but just be clear. The variable, it's not compulsory that variable is always appearing later. and message is always appearing first. Please be clear. You may have variable in the beginning and you may have message in the end. Like I may have something like um, I can say your average is this. Your average is 69%. I may have this. Or I may have this message 69% is your average. So again, you can see 69% is a variable. So definitely that has to be written first. So please remember, if you or if the it's a this is what I'm telling to those students who have raised the concern for them only. But inshallah, slowly and gradually you'll be learning this thing. So everyone will be clear later. But right now I'm answering the query of those children who had raised this question. Ki, writing variable is always in the end. No, you can write variable in the beginning also. But remember one thing, variables and messages are always separated by a comma in between. Fine? It's very much clear to the ones who have raised this question. May I move ahead? Now, a few examples. Example number 1, take input of 2 numbers, add and display the sum. So now whatever we have learned, I hope that we are clear with that one. And now we are doing this concept of taking input of 2 numbers. Taking input of 2 numbers means I need 2 variables, and these 2 variables will be used to store the input given by the user. Then I need to add them, means the addition is supposed to take place the way we have learned it right now, and then display the sum. So you can think very quickly that what will be the procedure that we need to follow. Now, the very first thing that we can see here is I have used output, and this output is only meant to give a message to the user what he has to do. Like think from this perspective, if only the cursor is blinking and I don't know what I have to do, that will not be a good thing to do. So what is suggested is a message should be there for the user so that he knows what he has to do. And then the input is going to be appearing. And again, remember, it's pseudocode. It's not program. It's not something that is available on the screen. It's something that is used only for the person to comprehend what he has to do. You can see the message is going to be there on the screen. Enter first number. The user will be asked to input the number, and the value input by the user will be stored in the variable first. I hope I'm clear. Please I'm repeating, be cautious. The output statement is appearing first to make something appear on the screen. The message is there, enter first number, so that the person knows what he has to do. And then whatever he inputs is going to be stored into the variable first. Now, again, you can see output, enter second number, and whatever is input by the user will be stored into the variable second. Again, you can see the 2 variables are depicted in their nature, first and second. Any questions, any ambiguity before I proceed? It means that the first stage of taking input of 2 numbers is over. And again, you can see we are using 2 variables by the name first and second. No confusions? May I move ahead? Okay, that's wonderful. Moving to the next line. Again, you can see the assignment operator. And before the assignment operator is the variable sum. Be cautious. The variable sum is holding the result of addition of the variables first and second. Be cautious. Variables should remain same. If I had used first and second in my program to take input, the same variables are supposed to be used here. They should not change at all as far as this concept, this work is concerned. If you change the variables, your work will not be as per your requirement. So once input is taken, the assignment operator is there, and the first and second variable values are added, and the result is going to be stored into the variable sum. After I'm done with this stage, the next stage is output, and you can see sum of 2 numbers is a message is there for the user, and then the quotations are closed, then comma sum. So it means, again, I have to use the same variable sum because I have used sum here. Assume that a student had used result instead of sum. So what should he write here? Can he use sum here? Will it be actually showing the result? Yes, what do you think? I'm repeating. Ali, the question is from you. Be attentive. Assume, Ali, that you use result assignment operator first plus second. And then you later saw your Ahmed sitting next to you and you wrote comma, not result, but you wrote sum. So will it be the right thing to do because you have used result in the beginning and you're using sum here? No, correct. Definitely. That's wonderful, Ali. But they are not going to be depicting the right result because since you have used result, so it has to be result here. You can't use sum. So be clear that the variables should be same used throughout your program, throughout your pseudocode. Otherwise, the work will not be done as per your requirement. That's wonderful. Thank you, Ali. Now, another example. Now, take input of percentage of a student, find an output whether he has passed or he has failed. Now, the first instruction is input percentage, although I may have a message for the user also. And we keep it simple so that you can comprehend the message that is going to happen. If percentage is greater than or equal to 50, then output pass, else output fail, and then end if. Now, you don't have to actually concentrate a lot on the whole thing because inshallah, you'll be doing it very soon. If it's going to be handled very soon, inshallah. But just remember, this is just meant to make you understand that we write down the pseudocode. We write down using some keywords like input and output, and we have learned the use of assignment operator. And just this program I have taken just to make you understand the use of greater than or equals to symbol, that is the relational operator. Otherwise, there is no other reason except to handle this. Inshallah, soon we'll be talking about the logics, the three logics, sequence, selection, and repetitive logic. So the video will be there, inshallah, also for you people to keep a track of. So thank you very much for being a part of my class. Jazakallahu khairan kaseera. Allah Hafiz. If you have liked my video, please subscribe to my channel and share it with your family and friends. And please click on the bell icon so that you can get the update of the videos as soon as they're uploaded. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.